Welcome to Season 3 of Coming Home to Ourselves, where we aim to bridge the gap between the sacred and modern day responsibilities, complex chronic illness, and life. I am your host, Denise Elysa, practitioner and teacher, and I aim to empower you to become your own self-healer and an embodied co-creator. I am not a medical professional, and nothing said in this podcast should be misconstrued as medical advice or replacement of such. To learn more about my philosophies or practices, visit deniseelysa.com. Hi, friends. I'm so excited to welcome Blanka Molnar to the show today. Blanka is a family constellation practitioner who's really passionate about healing multi-generational trauma. And Blanka, I know that you have a bit of a story to how you came into that. If I understand correctly, you moved to California from Budapest to become an au pair, and that kind of set you off on this unfolding that came next for you. Would you like to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, it's interesting. I just have chills listening this story again. It's my story though. Yes, hello everybody. Thank you for having me here. Yes, my name is Blanka Molnar, and I'm a family constellation practitioner or holistic therapist. And as you mentioned, I was 26 years old when I moved to California and quit my corporate job, real estate, that time, and I wanted change. I wanted change so badly, and I was in so much pain, physically and mentally, that I decided then I just moved to the other side of the ocean. But what I didn't realize that my baggage, my past, my expectations, my roots, everything was coming with me. I was very naively, I was like, I just take my luggage and I'm done and I can start a new life, a new chapter. And then taking care of two lovely kids in a multicultural family show me the mirror. And actually, I just recreated my whole life on the other side of the ocean with conflicts.
Yeah.
And that scared me. So I embarked on my healing, spiritual, self-development journey in California, and I never looked back.
Thank you for sharing that. That's such a good example of something that I'm often telling my clients and people that I'm working with is that when the challenges live inside of you, when they're still being carried in your tissues, in your cells, in your way of being, in your thought processes, in your patterns, in your habits, in every part of you, right? You can run away as much as you want. It's coming with you.
Yeah.
Right. And like I've been there too. I moved too for the same, to escape a lot of things. And it all came with me. And I've witnessed it in, so many friends and family members and clients and people that I work with as well. So that's such a beautiful lived example of such a
Yes.
valuable lesson.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
why when they are saying that you cannot change from the outside to the inside, absolutely, you can cut your hair, you can move to the other side of the world, but the real transformation actually comes from within. And that's everything. When it's in alignment, that's when everything outside starts to get into pieces and folding up
Yeah.
for you.
Absolutely. And what I love about that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it aligns with a lot of the work that I do as well, is that there's almost no like one specific thing that you would work on with somebody. So, for example, like when we start to change from the inside, it starts to reflect every layer outside. So it's not just like, oh, we're going to work on like your physical health or your finances or your relationships or whatever pattern it might be, it actually starts to ripple out through every single one of those areas. So I feel like then it amplifies the shifts so profoundly because you start to see them through every area of your life instead of like just the one thing that you may have started onto this journey for. Is that your
Yes.
experience as
Yes,
well?
that's totally my experience because you shake up a little piece of you. I usually give an example to my clients that we give a little flicker to your soul. And then it's like, okay, then I might hang out with other people, a different type of people, or I might have a different job, or actually I want to create a nicer environment for myself, so I have to move. So as soon as your identity is shifting through healing, because you just like, oh, I had this problem or illness or sickness or something, everything else is like, okay, this is the old identity, this is the old version of you, that it's old, you have to shaking this off, you like get out of your skin again and do something differently going forward.
Yeah, beautiful. So what is it that you see in your clients or in yourself? Like, how do you see that start to come to life?
So old like old dogmas or things is like we hate pain and we want pleasure, and we usually change, especially embark on a journey, on a self-discovery journey, when it really hurts. And that's how my journey started, and that's what I see with clients, that usually when there are physical pain or like severe financial pain, or they see their kids suffering, that's when they are like, okay, what can I do differently? Because I tried all the traditional, conventional ways to heal it, and it's not working. So that's when it's just like, you cannot not do anything about it. And that's when it
So
starts.
many people do, though. Do you notice that? Like, so there's the people who we connect with in our world who
Yes.
they feel that way, right? Like, now, how could I not do something about it? I've seen the pattern, I've seen the pain, I've lived the pain, I see it showing up in my kids. How could I not do something about it? Do you feel like there's also a lot of people who are the opposite of that? Like, they see it and they're still like, well, oh, guess there's nothing I can do,
Yes.
right? Guess there's no answer, so I'm just going to stop here and kind of like sweep this under the rug so that I don't have to feel the intensity of the fact that I'm not doing anything about it.
Totally. And I'm not the right person for those people, because I just want to shake them up. So it's like, I see it in my family, that it's just, I want to grab people, and it's like, just wake up. You can do something about it. You are so much more powerful as a human being.
Exactly.
And you just don't even see the dim of your life, and like create a big fire out of it, because you are just so afraid of the fire that would burn you. Because healing, it's beautiful, but it's painful.
Oh my God, it fucking hurts. Okay, like, healing is messy.
Yes, it's messy.
I'm not going to beat around the bush with that one, because people do view healing and spiritual healing and energetic healing as this like beautiful, enlightening process, and then they're in it. And they're like, how come it feels like everything in my life is falling apart? I've never been in so much pain in my life. I don't even know who I am anymore. I've completely lost my sense of self and direction. And, you know, ideally, you're working with a practitioner who can support you through that so that you don't have to go as dark as like some of my journey did. But yeah, it's messy, man. Like, it's not this like straightforward, linear, like pleasurable. There's a lot of pleasure in it, and the amount of pleasure it can activate and open you up to is insane. But the process itself is fucking messy.
Okay, our PR for healing is not that good. Because if somebody is listening, this is like, what are they talking about? Who wants this for themselves? But
you know what? I know, but I don't beat around the bush around here, because
I
too
totally
many
agree
people
with you.
have that like spiritual bypassing idea.
Oh yeah,
where
they're just sitting here and meditating and having candle lights and beautiful music, and enlightenment and healing will come. Forget this.
Yeah.
I mean,
but the outcome. That's okay. Like, you're just talking about like the PR and how nobody listening to this is going to want to do healing. And I can relate to that. But the outcome is profound. the amount of pleasure that you can
Yes.
access when you've come out the other side, or even when you're in it, is just insane. The amount of connection and like shifts within your life and joy. I mean, I didn't even have access to joy for like a lot of my life, right? And so even just like that access to joy, even when you're in the midst of like some of the messy stuff, is that's invaluable to me.
And for example, I wouldn't be able to attract my husband, who is an amazing human
Exactly.
being, if I wouldn't do, we are joking, we met later, but it's like, if I would be married for like 10 years, I would be divorced only like 3 times
Yeah,
because I changed so much in the last 10 years. But I attracted him because of the healing that I've done. And
exactly.
you can do that too. It's just, this is not magic, like in a way that it's
Yeah,
accessible for everybody and reachable
yeah,
for everybody. But then you have to sit down and it's like, okay, I want change. You have to make a conscious decision that I want to do something differently. And maybe in baby steps, maybe in huge steps, whatever feels right for you, just start it, because you are much more powerful than you think you are.
I completely agree. And I wish that more people would start taking some of those baby steps before their life became so unbearable that they had no choice but to change.
I would love that. And even me, like I was very sick in the last 1.5 year. Like literally, I had like puffed up faces, like severe allergic reaction, ended up in the ER multiple times. And I was like, me who've done the healing already, so many years of healing, why I'm getting this? And now I'm on the other side. My face looks great again, but it was like I was on fire, like for one and a
Yeah,
half years. And I was desperate. I didn't see the out of it. But with different healing modalities, it's just now that I'm on this side, I understand so much. And when you are on the other side, when you are in the midst of it, you need a guide, you need an accountability buddy, you need a therapist, whatever is your thing,
yeah,
that who can guide you through that dark. But when you are seeing the light, it's it's so powerful. It's beautiful.
absolutely. And empowering, right? That's one of the pieces that I always feel that people, when they access their guide or their therapist or their teacher or whoever it is that they choose to walk alongside them on this path, I hope that they find someone who empowers them rather than disempowers them, right? So
Amen.
there's a
Yes.
lot of this narrative within the spiritual healing community where people need like a guru. They need somebody who is always going to know more than them, that sort of thing, right? And I really believe that people can become empowered to do this with themselves for themselves when they have the right person to help
Yes.
them get there. So I don't want my clients to need me forever. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I
I hope
don't
they
want to
want
be
me
a crutch.
forever.
Yes, yes.
I hope that they want access to me forever just for like continued support and education and, to meet them where they're at, wherever they are on that journey. But I don't want them to feel like they can't do this without me.
I agree. And I don't want to be the guru for my clients either.
Exactly.
I want to help them, facilitate or guide them. I rather want to be like hold their hands and it's like, okay, let's walk together. I can help you in this point and this point in your life, but I always want to say to my clients that it's your responsibility. I
Yeah.
cannot be a magician for you. I cannot change your life. It's not like, here, fix it for me. And I see this tendency that if, like, because I'm doing conscious parenting coaching, is like also like parents is like, here, I want you to fix my kids. There is something wrong with them. Or here is my husband, do something about them. It's
Yeah.
like, no, it's your responsibility, your healing, and they will react. They will behave differently as soon as your energy is shifting. And
Yeah.
that's when I'm going back to the point that you are much more powerful than you think you are.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
your kids are mirroring your energy. And that's scary when I say to parents that actually your 18-year-old or 18 and less is still mirroring your energy. So when they are going nuts, it's probably because you are very tense or you are going through a very tense period of your life too.
Yeah.
And kids are like, have little antennas and they just pick up energy. And they are so pure. My daughter will be 3 this year. And man, she's my biggest mirror and wisest teacher. Because when she is like acting up, I was like, okay, what's in me going on that she is mirroring to me?
Thank you for sharing that. I love that. So, tell us a little bit more about how you help people get from, where they are to where they want to be.
So, family constellation is a very powerful therapy. It's been around since the 1970s. It's just not very well known in the US or North America. It's more in Europe and South America. The founder was a German psychologist, Bert Hellinger. And the foundation of this therapy is that whatever is going on in your life or in your kid's life, anything emotional, mental, health-wise, environmental, financial, it might be that it was triggered by a trauma event generations back. So I usually bring up the fertility issues. For example, you have you cannot conceive and they find out that physically it's all good, but something is just not happening. And this might be because your great grandmother passed away giving birth. So you have an inherited trauma that actually giving birth is lethal or having a child is impossible. That's the subconscious mind actually it's in your mind or inherited DNA because somebody died in your family. So as much as you can try until you let that limiting belief or subconscious belief go and you heal that by the root, you can go to IVF. It might not happen. Or you might not even need an IVF if you can work on the root cause. So that's how I heal my clients. We find the root cause. We go back 7 generations. We can go back all the way 7 generations and we heal by the root.
And so I've been in a few family constellations processes myself. And so, am I understanding correctly that the person doesn't even necessarily know about this event? Like, because we're going back like up to 7 generations, that if you're working on me, for example, I might not even be aware of what this
Yes.
event is, a generation ago, 2 generations ago, whatever it is. And that's still showing up in my body, right?
Correct. You are absolutely
Yeah.
correct. And you don't need to know about it. I mean, if we are lucky, we maybe know our great grandparents and their stories. But as growing up in Eastern Europe, we have so many hidden things and events and traumas and both historical, family wise. You don't know about it. You don't know about lost kids. My dad, for example, didn't know that his dad had a baby brother who passed away when he was 9 months old. And when I asked him, it's like he didn't know about it. So there is so much thing and we are not aware. So that's why the traditional therapy might not work, because you can talk about the present, but how would you know that what happened 4, 5, 6 generations going back? And you don't need to know about it. We just bring it up in the session because the family field of the family subconscious opens up for us. We heal it and we close it. So it's not like digging up skeletons and create a soap opera
Yeah.
out of your family. It's just for the healing and then we close it.
That's been my experience as well, when I've been on the receiving end or witnessing some of these family constellation sessions, either on myself or others. And one thing I just wanted to touch on that you just mentioned is that when you go to like talk therapy, you need to typically know what these things are in order to
Yes.
bring them through, right? And so that's one of the things that's really valuable in the work that you're referring to, is that you don't need to have this conscious awareness of it. But one of the other things that you didn't mention that I'd love to highlight, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but my beliefs around this is that when you're doing talk therapy, you're accessing things mainly through the mind, and the body is still disconnected. So the body is not actually necessarily, not, I'm not going to say never, but it's not necessarily receiving the same healing that the mind is. And so I believe that through the work you're referring to, you're actually processing this on a more body-based physiological level. Is that correct?
Yes, we are healing all levels
Yeah.
because so when you go to talk therapy, it's usually your logical brain is trying
Yeah.
to, and when your ego realizes that, oh, it's something is not secure here, your logic, you overanalyze and you are saying that, oh, it's because of this, or because I was not in a good relationship with your dad or with my dad. But actually, what comes up in family constellation that maybe it's not the dad, maybe it's actually the mom's side. But that's the beauty of it, that it comes up for me. So sometimes what my clients are saying is not the same what I'm experiencing in that moment. And I bring it up for them, and they are it's like, no, this is not true. Or it's like, actually, you're right, this is true. So we go deeper. We kind of trick the mind, we trick the logical brain, and we bring up stuff that your soul is ready to release in that moment or in that
Mm-hmm.
session.
So, what are some of the success stories that you would see through doing some of this work? Like, can you share, obviously
Without,
anonymously,
yeah, yeah.
but with to give listeners kind of an example of like what they might bring to someone like yourself?
It's hard to find a niche for family constellation because
Yeah.
pretty much everything you can look at it. Even if you have like a big decision coming up for it's like, do I want to move to Canada or the US? And we can look at it with family constellation. So that's more like a coaching type session. But with family constellation, you can bring anything. We can look at it. I'm usually telling that I'm not a magician, but we are working until you have a relief in one session. You might need like complex problems like cancer need more release because actually need it from more angles or more family members are involved. But you can bring any physical, any mental, any social, like for example, your kids is bullied, or you are experiencing in work that you start the work and then people are starting to be like rejecting with you. Or when you have financial problems, you have a good job, but at the end of the month, every month you are still paycheck to paycheck. And I work with clients with ADHD, for example. So for example, for a client, it was ADHD, and it turns out that it's his anger coming from his uncle. So it's also strange what kind of triggers are there inherited, and it all can be family related, like personal or history related. So for example, the Second World War, the Holocaust, slavery, all these kind of things are still in our DNAs and
Yeah.
inherited.
Yeah.
It's very interesting that my daughter had severe peanut butter allergy. And we looked at it, and peanut or working for peanut is actually when you not feel valued for your work. She was bringing it from me. I had to clear a lot of lineage issues and poverty and struggles, and her peanut allergy is much better now because of she's not working for peanut anymore. So it's beautiful how your body is telling that what can be in your subconscious mind. We just have to like mind it and get it out.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. So, can you tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing now with conscious parenting and how that kind of intersects with your healing systems and how that shows up in your own life?
So first of all, I have to tell that I'm not a perfect parent and I'm not a perfect mom. So, and conscious parenting, it's not about that. And it's not
Yeah.
gentle parenting, which is like a buzzword right now in parenting world. It's what I wanted to do is actually contributing to raising a mentally, physically, emotionally healthier generation. And it all starts with us.
Yeah.
So actually when kids have issues, I'm working with the parents. And what I would like to bring to parents that their healing is healing their children too. And again, their healing is, okay, I'm not passing more stuff on to my child. And as you mentioned, I want them to know that who their child is without their baggage, without their agenda, without their expectation, without their past. It's like, and that's why I like to bring a little bit of like human design in it, that who is your child really is, and how can you support that child. But you have space, real space for actually supporting and parenting in a more child-tuned way when you did the healing, when you are not triggered. And I'm still working on my triggers. It doesn't mean that I'm not yelling sometimes at my daughter, but conscious parenting, bringing in that, okay, it's not about her, it's about me. When I'm triggered, instead of like, okay, I yelled at her, okay, what can I do to get back to my core, like calm down, navigate what I just did, and mend and heal our relationship, and saying sorry. And I explained to my daughter that it wasn't about you. This wasn't you, it's mommy, because mommy's tired, mommy is impatient, or mommy was really triggered because we are still haven't stepped out of the door and I hate to be late. But these are my things. And teaching also her that it's okay to show your emotions, because I saw so much bottled up emotions that, but how can you manage it? So it's bringing emotional intelligence into the picture too.
One of the things that I love about that, and it's something I'm navigating in my own house and some young people that I care about a lot right now as well, is what is your responsibility and what is their responsibility, right? And helping these kids understand these parts are not your responsibility, right? This stuff is your parents' responsibility. This stuff's my responsibility. This stuff's,
Yeah.
right? This side of it, how you act, how you behave, how you set boundaries, how you do things, like, yeah, that's your responsibility. But all of this other stuff that you're carrying, that
It's
you're
not
trying
yours.
to like manipulate or say the things that you think need to want to be heard, saying the things that you think someone wants you to say and things like that, like that's not yours.
Yes. And I had to work with my daughter because subconsciously she took on so much from my husband and I. And I had to tell her and to her soul that it's not your responsibility. This is mommy's and daddy's job. So don't try to be old enough, a 10-year-old or 18-year-old, for a 3-year-old and trying to heal stuff that it's not yours. Your job is right now learning about the world, learning around you, and start to spread your wings, physically, mentally, emotionally, and navigating it. And of course, there is a lot of neuroscience going in a child's development and brain development. But what I feel is like we all want our children to be happy. A, what does that mean? B, happiness meaning our happiness. Because we couldn't go to university in an Ivy League university. Oh, they should go to an Ivy League university. Maybe that's not what they want. So how can you connect and bond in a meaningful way when you can put down that, okay, this is me, this is what I want, this is what I think it's happiness for her, and actually like seeing your child who he or she is for what she or he is.
Yeah, absolutely. This highlights so many of the conversations that I was just having with this person who is a teenager who I love very much and is very close to me, and trying to help them understand that we don't want to know the version of them that is just telling us what they think we want to hear. We want to know the version of them that's like actually them, that's
Yes.
really who they are. And that then if they say something that isn't what we want to hear and we have feelings about that, that's our problem,
It's our
not
trigger.
theirs.
Exactly.
Right. And so, yeah, we've been having a lot of conversations lately about rewiring the brain and the neural pathways, and how the brain's going to take the quickest, most used route every single time, and how starting to tell people what is true for them rather than what they think that person wants to hear is going to take practice, and it's going to come slowly because you're literally rebuilding new neural pathways to start to share who you actually are instead of who you think somebody wants you to be. And so that's, obviously I'm talking to someone who's in their teen years in that conversation, and that's easier to have those conversations and is a lot of fun to have those conversations because they're in their teen years and you can. But if I was to try to talk to my 5-year-old, that would be a different story. So you just mentioned like you're actually talking to your child's soul and having some of these conversations with your child's soul. So can you expand a little bit on that?
Yeah. By the way, just I would like to say that I love that you have that conversation with the teen, but I love that you can create an environment where they feel safe to share their biggest fears, their biggest like, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to navigate, or I just do this, or I say this because I know that that's what it's expected from me. And when you can break it down that no, I want you, what do you really feel? What do you really want to say? Are you angry about this? And you want to cuss? Okay, let's talk about it, because your anger is a signpost of something. So
Exactly.
that's a lot of work, creating that environment when it's like, okay, I'm here face to face with you and let's talk real. And I do that with my daughter too, like face to face. Sometimes it's like she recently started when I told her something 5 times very quietly, very patiently, and I started to raise my voice. And she's like, "Mommy, be nice to me." And it's like she starts to be like, "Okay, be nice to me." I was like, "Okay." Mommy shakes it out, and I was like, "Let's talk again." Because I know that when I'm raising my voice, and it's like, "Okay, shake it out. Okay, now we can talk." So I do that in front of my daughter because I want her to know that it's okay to be raising their voice, but how can we manage it? And so talking with her soul, you can just do that. So I always ask their guardian angels, if you believe in angels, but also her guardian angel too. And sometimes I just sit down and just imagine my daughter's face in front of me, and I'm saying what I want to say, what she probably wouldn't understand if she would just sit in front of me. And I told her many times that this is not your task. This is mommy's daddy's task. And you have to stay small, and I am the adult in this conversation. And this is not a boundary. This is it. I'm telling you now. Because I don't want her to take over and not sleep, be anxious or afraid or have fear about it, but it's not hers. So usually I just sit down, close my eyes, like quiet as much as I can, imagine her in front of me, and is like, okay, mommy wants to talk to you, and this is what I would like to say.
Yeah, thank you for breaking that down in such an accessible way for our listeners, because I I also talk to my child's soul and higher self, however you want to put
Yeah.
that. So the question wasn't like, "Whoa, you do this? That's crazy." It was more exactly what you said. Like, I how would you tell our listeners how to do this if they were going to start doing this themselves, and what's the benefit there? And I love that. And I love the modeling that you expressed as well. The shaking it out is a big one for me in my house, because when I get frustrated, I really need to move my body.
Yes.
And that can be, I live with or have been living with some pretty severe, debilitating, complex chronic diseases. I was bedbound for quite a long time while my daughter was quite young. And so moving my body can be sometimes quite a limitation, but it's a really important piece for me. And so when I start to get frustrated too, I'll shake it out, I'll dance it out. We have like
Yes.
a rebounder, like a child,
Mhm. Yeah.
um, we got it for her, but I made sure we got the adult version so that I could use it too. So
Yeah, me too. Yes.
So like I'll bounce it out on the trampoline, or sometimes I sing it out. Like if I can't, if my body is not in a place where I can really physically have a lot of mobility, then I will start actually just like singing my anger in like a sing-songy kind of voice, because you still get that same response from your system as if you're raising your voice without as much of the fear
Yeah.
being received on the other side. And so I'm still releasing in the way that my body needs, while I'm honoring to some, in the way that I can, the fact that there's this small child in front of me, right?
Yeah. So,
And
yeah.
she thinks it's funny, and I will sing like, I'm really angry right now and I'm just having a really hard time handling it and I'm not really sure what to do, and so I'm going to sing it out because I don't want to yell at you. And so then she finds it funny, and then my system has gotten what it needs to kind of
Yes.
start to like release that. You get that more activation in like your chest when you start to raise your voice, right? And you get that same activation when you start to sing. And you can add some like shaking out or movements or whatever, like when your body allows for it. But yeah, it's parenting is a wild ride.
It's the
When you view
toughest
it from
job,
this lens.
absolutely. Yeah. I usually do the King Kong, and I was like, just let it
I
the
love
same
that.
way out. So it's, as you mentioned, my daughter loves it, and it's like she was asking me in the morning, and what do you do, mommy? I was like, I'm just doing my exercises, just letting it all out, shake it out. So yeah.
I love that. We are actually just about to start a parenting course, my partner and I. It'll be, I think, done by the time this episode comes out, but it's like a 10-week container where it's for like somatics and
Hmm.
reintegrating
Love that.
primal reflexes.
Hmm.
So I'm really interested to see where that leads as well, because for myself, I've done like I am a somatic inquiry practitioner and energy healer, like all of these things. So I have a little bit more of that education into the nervous system and the neuroception and interoception and the co-regulation pieces and how our children are constantly feeding off of us. It doesn't mean I do a super good job of it. It just means I understand what
You
I'm
just
doing
don't
wrong.
understand what you are doing.
And so, whereas my partner is like a trades worker, and he doesn't have that same education piece besides what he learns from me. But together we've agreed to take this parenting course, and it's all
That's
around
lovely.
somatics and the reintegration of primitive reflexes. And so I'm really interested to see how that shifts our dynamic in our household and our dynamic with our kids, as he starts to receive the same education that I have, and then also the same support to his nervous system, right? Starting to learn
Yes.
the somatic
Yes.
piece for himself and how to create a little bit more flexibility and resiliency within his nervous system, so that he's
Yes.
not getting stuck in different states and can move through them instead of getting stuck there. And it's interesting because you'd think, like, with me being a practitioner, that, my whole household might be really equipped for this sort of thing. But when you're that close to someone, you're not really the practitioner for them.
And
You know
your
what I
kids
mean?
are amazing, like triggering you, like your partner
Yeah.
and your
Yeah.
kid, they are the ones who are like all the time. These are your red buttons, and they are like pressing it like non-stop.
Not
And
only that, but so, like when you're that intricately intertwined with somebody as a family ecosystem or a family nervous
yeah.
system, your stuff and their stuff are
Oh, I
too
understand. Yeah.
connected to
Yeah.
really be an effective and safe, high integrity practitioner for them all the time. So there's certain things that absolutely I can work with my family on, like with their consent, and guide them through. But I know that they also need someone who is not me, so that
Yes.
when their stuff involves me, they can talk about it.
Yeah.
They can be met there without worrying like, oh, this actually involves Denise, And so maybe I shouldn't tell her, or maybe her stuff is going to get intertwined with my stuff while I'm trying to heal it. Like
Yeah.
there's too much enmeshment there for me as a practitioner to be able to consistently, safely, with integrity, work with them through some of those like deeper, heavier things,
Yeah.
right? You can
Yes.
only take your family members so far, I think.
Yes, I'm constantly working on them with or without their consent, but
Oh boy.
whatever is affecting us, it's okay to work on. So I asked my husband knows about it. My husband is an engineer, so sometimes he just looks at me like, okay, I just
Yeah.
trust you that you know what you are doing. So
Yeah. My husband also went to engineering school. He ended up becoming like a high-end electrician instead,
mhm.
but same mindset. You know what I mean? Like that same
Yeah,
kind
the
of
logical
concept.
brain, and it's like
Yeah,
the
yeah, for sure, for sure. So, no, I'm really interested to see like where this 10 weeks, and it's actually like a year program, but you're in the
well,
container for 10 weeks and then they see you through for a year. And so
okay.
I'm really interested to see how someone who thinks a little bit more like him like starts to move through this program, and like how his system will receive it, and how that will also shift like how we relate to each other, and how
Yeah,
we relate to our kid, and how our kids relate to us, and
yeah,
all of those
absolutely.
pieces, because I really do believe that the family has this very intricate nervous system of their own as a whole, along with each individual's nervous system as well.
Yes, I agree.
So, is there anything else, tangible, maybe practices or advice that you would love to leave our listeners with today?
If I can have one, I would say that find a trigger log. There is one on my webpage, free download, and start to track your patterns. Trigger log is a very easy, cheap, accessible way to start your healing journey. If you haven't and you are interested to start, and you are like, okay, what am I doing, and without getting too overwhelmed. Because when you have a trigger log, you can see that, okay, this was the event, when was it, who triggered me or what triggered me, how long did it take to actually get back to calm. And when you have like more events, like 1, 2, 3 weeks of patterns that or triggers, that's when you can see a pattern, that what is really bugging you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing so much of your expertise with our listeners. I'd love for our listeners to know how to find you, and I understand that you have a new book out. And so I'd love to hear a little bit of that so that our listeners know where to find you, how to find you, what kind of resources you have. Your book title is Growing You, Growing Me. I love that so
Yeah.
much. So tell us a little bit more about that before we wrap up.
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you for having me. This was another sparkly, lovely conversation. Thank you. And so the easiest way is finding me via my webpage, awareness.net. And yes, my ebook is out. It's an 18-page holistic but very grounded guide about and love letters, what I teach to my daughter. So growing you and growing me, because as I'm growing her, it's growing me too. So that's why I chose that title. And it's available on my webpage under the ebooks section. So it's out now with
Perfect. I'm
love.
going to drop all of your links in the
Thank you.
description so that people know exactly where to find you. And I think you said it's an 80-page ebook, 80.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, 80. Perfect.
Thank
That's
you.
what I thought. Well, Blanca, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for sharing so much wisdom with our listeners. I hope that everybody got a lot out of this and has, even just that really tangible tool of the trigger charting, right? The tracking. I think that's
Yes.
really supportive, but I love that you've given a lot of these like little nuggets for people to kind of percolate on, like how does that land in my body, and how does that show up in my life, and where could this maybe take me if I started on this like path of healing, whatever that looks like for them, right?
Yes.
So yeah,
Thank you,
thank you
thank you, thank
so
you.
much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
As always, I am trusting you to take what resonates with you and leave the rest behind. Full extended versions of many of my episodes for Season 3 can be found in the Embodied Soul with Denise Elysa community app. If you'd like to join our recordings live and have the opportunity to send in questions in advance, that's the place to do it. If my podcast resonates with you, it would mean the world to me if you'd leave me a rating, review, positive comments, or likes, as those are so important on these platforms, and be sure to hit subscribe. If you'd like to dive deeper than what these platforms can provide, I invite you to explore my Embodied Soul with Denise Elysa community app, a virtual sanctuary where you can connect more deeply with yourself and others in a supportive environment while developing the tools to awaken your own self-healer. You are the medicine.